Finally today, we're taking a look at risk management in the High Plains. At this year's Women in Ag event, which took place out in Kearney, UNL Extension Farm and Ranch Management Specialist Jay Parsons discussed with attendees the challenges associated with managing drought conditions and price risk protection. Market Journal's Mike Straub brings us this story.
Financial stability is always on the mind of a producer. Two of the main concerns that could heavily affect an operation are drought and price risk.
Really two of the primary risks that cattle ranchers in particular face, and that is drought and then price risk. So those are always present to some degree. Even when we have good prices, they're always worried about them dropping, and then of course when they have bad prices, they wish it could go up. And then drought, you never know when that's going to come up. And of course, a lot of people are really worried about that this year because we've been extremely dry throughout the winter, and there's a lot of dry grass out there that we hope greens up this spring.
Good management plans are key to protecting your finances. Tools like livestock risk protection can help substantially.
Try to emphasize with everybody to just have good risk management plans and be disciplined about implementing those each year. So sometimes that involves putting things like price insurance in place. Livestock risk protection insurance is one of the tools that producers have available. In addition to things that they can use, say, on the border trade or even with private contracting tools. But come up with a plan and stick with executing that plan each year. That doesn't necessarily mean that you do the same thing each year, but that you're looking for signals. You have different price triggers that you want to basically lock in prices at, or lock in the floor, as we call it, basically, so that if prices fall below that you got something to insulate you from that. And that's something that tools like LRP could do for you. So producers need to know what their costs are. They need to know what they need for revenue to cover that, and then they're just diligent on keeping track of things and have a plan for how to deal with different situations as they arise. It's not foolproof, but where you get in trouble is when you don't do those things on a regular basis, and then things like this happen, and we tend to panic and worry and stress and realize that some day-to-day volatility can really affect us quite a bit.
Pasture, range, and forage is another great tool.
The other tool that we dealt with a lot in the workshop that played a pivotal role in the discussions was pasture, range, and forage insurance, and that also is an insurance product that's available through the government, designed primarily to insure against drought. It's built off of rainfall indexes that are developed or produced by NOAA. And then used by RMA to basically determine the insurance premiums, and then also the insurance indemnity. So a producer can insure up to 90% of normal rainfall, and normal meaning like the long-term average rainfall, for a 2-month interval. And then if the rainfall falls below that, they get an indemnity payment based off of the difference of how far it falls below, and then what the productive value of the land is determined to be that they insure at. So we walked through both of those, with an idea of being able to basically manage price risk and manage drought risk to some degree. They're not foolproof, they're not perfect, but they are a tool that producers can use, and the workshop was used as a chance to give them some experience using it and see how it might work if they were to implement it on their operation.
To build a good risk management tool on your operation is simple. Two main aspects are making sure employees are trained well, and the use of good communication between producers is prominent.
There's a lot of other things they can do to build what I would call a good risk management culture on their operation. Simple things like making sure that their employees are well trained, and that includes your kids, right? If your kids are working with you, that you're not just turning them loose and there's a risk of injury or to themselves or to their livestock or to equipment or whatever, things like that. So making sure people are well trained, that's a good risk management or piece of a good risk management plan. And then just people communicating, right? Just telling, hey, I saw that might be something to watch. We need to monitor that. If one person sees it and then tells everybody else, you got that many more eyes keeping a close eye on it. So it could be an animal that maybe is acting funny, might be sick or whatever, or disease, in your crops or things like that. So those things are there. They're cheap. I mean, they just take time and a conscious effort. But I always tell people that it's a good risk management plan is more than just price risk and production risk. There's a lot of things that go into that in terms of monitoring what's going on in the operation and keeping good communication flowing into and throughout the operation.
If risk management is something you're looking to improve on, taking a few simple steps and seeking advice can make a huge difference in your operation stability. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Mike Straub.